We're going to start our experiment by spraying this paper with some water, and then we're going to use our sublimation ink refill. So this is the ink pad refill, and we're just going to put a few dots of this onto the sprayed paper. It's not really running as much as I would like, so maybe I should spray another area of the paper a little bit more, and maybe even spray those dots again. Oh, which comes out really cool. Now let's put some dots on the more sprayed section. And oh, I like that a lot. Let's maybe try putting some dots on some of the drier sections and then spraying them afterwards. So we'll put one up here and then maybe down here where it's even drier. Okay, and then we're going to try spraying, oh neat. That looks really cool, spraying the dry dots. I think I really like that. So there you have a few different ways to make some fun ink blots. If you find you have these puddles, what I can do is take a little piece of paper towel and kind of twist it up and put that twist right in the puddle to pick up some of the ink. I'm going to take this little bag and I'm going to use a couple different blues. So there I just kind of colored different little scribbles on there, and now what I'm going to do is just place it down on my fabric, and I'm just on my paper, and I'm just going to use the acrylic block just to kind of press it, give it a nice even press. Okay, you can do this. I just happen to have this little scrap of plastic that these things came in, that the sublimation blanks came in, sitting right next to me. You could do this with a sandwich bag. You could do this with like your cling wrap or whatever. There you go. So that gives you, see, it took off basically all the ink, and it gives you this cool little look here. Another way you could do that, here we'll do it again. I'll start with the sea foam just over here. I'll show you another technique to it. What you can do is spray that. I'm just going to spray it. Sorry. There we go. I just sprayed it. Okay. I just didn't want to spray everything. And now I'm going to flip it, put it down, and smush it. See, and that's what happens when you put the water on it. Now, you need this to completely dry before you stamp on top of it and or use it for sublimation. Okay, more experimenting with sublimation with the Artist Breeze sublimation markers. I have freezer paper, and this is the shiny side of the freezer paper. All right, and I like to use the acrylic block, for the acrylic stamp block that Artist Breeze sells, to use as a pressing tool, because it's nice and flat and you can press well with it. So we're flipping that over and pressing it, and let's see what happened. Interesting. Okay, this might be one that you want to press with your fingers. Really make sure you get everything off of the freezer paper and onto the printer paper. Yeah, I think it worked better with pressing with my fingers in this case. But that is a really interesting look, isn't it? I like it. Here, let me pull it. Let me get you closer. Kind of neat, right? Okay, so now I'm going to just put this down and press it really well with my fingers. And there we go. We have that fun little, it's great for a background behind something, right? I'm going to go with like a nice little green to blue background here, because I have this, so I have this little bunny stamp that I'm going to color in, and I want to put it on a background that's maybe green to blue. And then I'm going to take this, put it down here, and press it really well And then that will be my background. When I sublimate that on, I'll sublimate this first, and then I'll do the bunny stamp on top of it, and we'll see how that ends up looking once we've sublimated it, okay? When you do sublimation, you need any words that you've written to be mirror image. Everything is going to be mirror image once it's sublimated, right? So one of the things that I like to do is I've actually printed this out on my computer, just regular ink on the printer, and then I just flip it over, and now if you have a light box, that's great. I just put it on top of a white surface and I can see it just fine. Now what I can do is this is actually the fine point black marker, and I can just trace this, and then it will be the right direction. All right, and you decide how perfect you need. I kind of like imperfection sometimes with artsy stuff, so that A may be a little bit too imperfect for me. We'll see how I feel about it. So there we go, clean and dirty. I have these metal hexagons that are sublimation blanks, and there's magnets that will stick on the back of them to make these just fun little decorative magnets. And I'm going to play with some stamping to decorate my sublimation blanks. So I have a bunch of different kinds of stamps, and the important thing to remember is, since this is sublimation, we're decorating on the paper and then sublimating or ironing, pressing it onto the blank, which means everything is going to be reversed. And then this one is actually from Artist Spray. These are printed in reverse, okay? So when this is actually the side you're stamping on, this is what you stamp down. So when you stamp it down, you'll get your words in reverse, which means when you sublimate them, they'll be front ways, the right way, right? So these are awesome for sublimation because they're in reverse. If you want everything to be laid out to fit exactly perfect on your stamp, which in some cases you want to worry about, and in other cases you're just going to draw something and then toss it on there, you can just trace your sublimation blank. So that's what I'm doing. I'm tracing my sublimation blank here because I want to use this love stamp, but I want to give it kind of like a rainbowy background. So there's my little rainbow. And now Artist Spray also, in addition to this mirror image words stamp pack, has the wonderful little acrylic stamp pad, or stamp blank here that you can put your stamps on. So we're just going to stick my little love on there. Okay, and I have my ink pad. Now this is the first time I've used this ink pad and the first time I've used this stamp. So what I'm going to do before I actually stamp it on here is I'm just going to kind of load it up a little bit, okay? And I'm gonna just do one or two little kind of seasoning stamps over here, because sometimes it takes a couple, with any stamps and any ink, it sometimes takes a couple initial, you have to kind of season your stamps sometimes. Okay, so let's see. There we go, that's a little better. All right, and then you can always, if you feel like you've maybe gotten a little too much ink, like there was a little wet spot on that ink pad, because, you know, it's all brand new, you can always just, pull off some of the ink with a little paper towel, okay? And now I'm going to kind of get some more ink on here. I feel like it's been seasoned pretty well at this point. Okay, and let's see. Now, I want to just kind of decide. I can see my lines of the outline of my hexagon here. So I think I'm gonna go like that. Ooh, I like it. All right, so there you go. I'm going to spray this with some water, and then that way I can just kind of clean my stamp. It's always a good idea to clean your stamps in between uses, right? So I'm just cleaning it with a little spray of water and tapping it off dry with a paper towel. I'm gonna put it back. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna try doing this little trick that I love. I'm gonna make the bunny, I think I make the bunny brown. So I've got this bark is this color. I'm tracing the stamp where the bunny is with this color. I'm just getting this ink onto the bunny part of the stamp. Okay, so you want to make sure you get the whole bunny there. Okay, so I've got the bunny kind of colored in there. And then these flowers, I think I'm going to do blue. So let's see, here's the flowers. And I'm going to take this is ocean, and I'm tracing the flowers with the ocean. This may or may not work. This is our little experiment. Now I think the rest of them I'm just going to go with green. What is this one? This is clover green. You know, you can also color each little individual part, and I have totally done that. Like, colored this leaf this color and this flower that color. Like, this has leaves and flowers in this little section, kind of, you know, but I don't even know if this is gonna work for now. Okay, now here is the not so sanitary part. You want to kind of breathe heavily on your stamp. What you're doing is just kind of warming it up so that if any of the ink has dried, it will hopefully get wet again. I'm not entirely positive this is going to work, but we're gonna try. Okay, and now stamp, unstamp. It's not horrible. All right, so there you go. See if you can see, but it did work, okay? So if you kind of take a little bit more time and get a little bit more ink on there, and make sure you breathe heavily on your stamp before you stamp it, it does pretty much work, right? All right, so I've got this little flower here. The stamp is sticky, so it's like the ink doesn't want to stick to it. That is just weird. That is very, very odd. All right, if you all know a reason why a stamp would be sticky, you should let me know. Like, maybe this is something I would know if I did more stamping. You're like, Jess, there's a reason for that, and it is da da da. I don't know. Okay, now I'm going to use this poppy, and I'm going to kind of trace the outline of the flower. Okay, here we go. See, now this one seems to be coming out a little bit. It seems to be, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It just might not be a great technique for this kind of stamp. You never know. Let's see what happens. Now, I don't want to stamp on top of my bunny. I love my bunny. He's so cute. Okay, here we go. Think good thoughts. Woo! Oh! See? Sticky! Oh my god! The paper stuck to the stamp because the stamp is sticky. I don't think the stamp is supposed to be sticky, guys. I think this may just not be the best stamp. Oh dear. But you can see how the colors kind of changed there. Here, let me lift this up for you. Okay, you can see how the colors kind of changed there and everything, right? I mean, who knows? We could maybe use it. And here are my my little sun stamps as well. Okay, I think this paper is pretty well full. I have a lot of various pieces colored with sublimation markers and inks that I'm going to use to make these hexagon magnets. So I'm going to start off with the ones that do not have any layers, the ones that are just one layer, okay? So we're going to tape a couple of those. I got a little bit happy with the tape there. Tape a couple of those down. Okay, that's about centered. Tape him down. I think this is like every other side is good. Remember, this heat tape, the heat won't pass through it as well, so therefore you don't want it to be blocking any of your sublimation. Okay, so now everything else I have is layered. So this is going to be my clean and dirty sign from my dishwasher. It's actually going to be made in 3 layers. So first I need to get the background for the dirty taped down. Okay, got that. Here are my first 4 magnets I need to sublimate, and I'm making my little sublimation sandwich where I have the heat safe paper. Then I have, oops, these are all upside down, look. Then I have my sublimation blank with the paper on top of it, and the paper should be facing up, okay? Sublimation blank with the paper on top facing up. And then some more of my heat safe paper. All right. And it should really basically cover everything here. I'll just actually flip this over top. Okay, do that. I'll flip this heat safe paper over top and then we'll be fine. All right. And then I have my heat press, which is on 400 degrees and set for 75 seconds. Okay, my 75 seconds is done. I am removing the heat press, and then we're just going to open this up. Now this is going to be very hot. They're metal, okay? So I'm just going to pull it by the paper and slide it up and off my heat safe paper just to get it out of my way. Now I'm just going to put another piece of paper down here to protect this, and then I have more of my blanks, and I'm just going to kind of cut them smaller, okay, which I should have done before, and put them down with the paper side up, okay. You always want your paper side up, and I'm just cutting off the excess here, putting this down here, and then folding over my top. And now we have our heat press. Press the go button, and it was 400 degrees for 75 seconds. Okay, so now I'm going to take the ones that were done first. These are still very hot, guys, so you might need to use some heat safe gloves or something, okay? All right, and then very cool. This was actually, I think, just one layer, so I can pull that to the side and let it cool down some more. And I think this was, yes, this was just one layer. Look at that. Very pretty. So these two are done. They just need to cool down all the way before I stick the magnets on, okay? Cool, let your blanks cool down completely. Totally cool before you stick the magnets on. All right, I do not know what the high heat of these magnets will do, of the metal sublimation blanks will do to the, well, I don't know how it will affect the glue on the magnet back, so leave them alone. All right, so I'm going to just push these out of the way and then work on layer 2 for these guys, for these 6. Now that I've done that, I can do 400 degrees for 75 seconds. And my bunny, I'm super excited about the bunny. Let's see how it turned out. Oh my goodness, guys. He's so sweet. Look at him. Aww. Okay, he maybe wanted to be colored in a little darker, but I really like the way it kind of layers up on there. That's kind of cute, right? I like it. All right. So now let's see, Peace is done, and Happy is done, and Bunny is done. And now this whole clean dirty thing. All right, so what I'm going to do with my clean is I'm going to fold it right on that line of that, you see how there's that little line across in the ink? So I fold it on that line so I can make sure to get it perfectly there. And I'm actually going to put the tape on here first. Now I'm going to get this so that the little squiggly is in the center and the line is right on that line. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over and make sure everything is taped on well. So we have the heat safe paper, and then the sublimation blank, and then the sublimation marker side down of the paper, and then the protective paper, and then the heat at 400 degrees for 75 seconds.